This video is brought to you by Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist, my new book, which is a comprehensive guide to all aspects of music theory necessary for playing rock guitar. From blues to the cycle of fifths, from understanding and using modes to choosing the right notes for a melodic solo, from pentatonic scales to chord construction and keys. It's all covered in a clear and concise manner. With accompanying video demonstrations, jam tracks and tabs, you'll learn to use the knowledge you gain in accessible ways that make sense for less than the cost of a few guitar lessons. Check out the link in the description for more details. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Today's Tuesday, which means we're doing a top 5 list, and you've already seen the title of the video and looked at the thumbnail, so you know exactly what I'm going to be talking about. The topic under discussion today is that of soloing fails. Specifically, my soloing fails. We're going to look at 5 guitar solos which absolutely defeated me for one reason or another. Some of these solos are notoriously technical and virtuosic pieces, which would be a challenge, a severe challenge to, I would wager, many guitar players, possibly with the exception of the original artist who recorded it. But some of them are, just what many people would regard as workaday pieces that you'll see plenty of credible renditions of all over YouTube and in your local pub covers band, but for one reason or another, they got the better of me. So we're going to go through those, and at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you why, for the most part, I'm not really that concerned. And I'll put links to all of these pieces of music down in the description as well. So let's have a look and see which is the first famous solo that really defeated me.
Highway Star by Ritchie Blackmore.
Yes, if I have one technique which is my nemesis, it is fast alternate picking. You'll notice in any of the guitar demos that I do or anything like that, it's not something I usually go anywhere near. It is, I would say, a weakness of mine. Now, is it a weakness of mine because I never really listened to a lot of players who did that sort of stuff? I was never really big into guys like Paul Gilbert and Al Di Meola. I was much more into the kind of slithery, slippery legato stuff of Joe Satriani and the like. I don't know. There's a conversation to be had there. But for whatever reason, I really struggle with rapid alternate picking. And this solo is pretty much built upon that technique. I've tried multiple times to get my fingers around this, doing the time-honoured way of kind of slowing it down, working with the metronome, trying to get it up to a reasonable speed, up to the target speed, but every time I hit a brick wall. And I don't doubt if I was to kind of invest more time in it, I would get there, but it's just a case of, I have other things to do, I have other videos to make, I have other, projects to be getting on with, and is this going to be worth the investment of time? And I always basically kind of throw the towel in when I get to that point. There are often ways to get round techniques that you find difficult, and there's a solo coming up later on in this list where I illustrate how I once upon a time managed to do that. But in this case, Highway Star, you can either do the picking or you can't. And, well, I think we know the answer to that one when it comes to my case. So there you go, Highway Star. Let's see what's next.
Cliffs of Dover by Eric Johnson.
Again, alternate picking. Just from that kind of solo guitar intro right the way through the whole thing, there's just so much virtuosity going on here. It's 4 minutes and 10 seconds of the hardest guitar playing you will ever hear, and Eric Johnson just kind of stands there in kind of with a smile on his face and just does it and makes it look effortless. So there you go. What a player. The fact that you don't have like an 8-bar passage in the entire tune where you can rest a little bit and, this is just some easy kind of pentatonic box shapes that I can kind of go into now for a little while and grit me teeth and gird me loins and get ready for the onslaught on the next kind of tricky bit. It's one big tricky bit. There's a reason why this piece of music is used as a bit of a party piece, a show-off piece for many guitar players. There are loads of versions of this up there on YouTube, and if you can pull it off, I salute you. But it's, as I say, it is one of the 5 solos which has defeated me. Next.
Out in the Fields by Gary Moore.
Out in the Fields, Gary Moore. That it has that fast ascending run in the middle of the solo, doesn't it? And I told a story. I played a dep gig many years ago, back in about 1989, with a band where this song was on the set list, and I absolutely panicked. It was, how am I going to do this? I found a way around it, which was basically to use legato techniques. And I did a video on this about 5-6 years ago, where I sort of showed how I cheated my way to kind of getting from one end of the solo to another. Here's what I came up with in place of that famous Gary Moore lick. Yeah, so cheating there by using legato. And the irony of it is that, as I say, I was doing this on a dep gig, where I was standing in for someone else. And the singer in that particular band said, "You got that solo absolutely nailed on, didn't you?" The regular guy never used to kind of play it anything like. But so I took the compliment and just had a little chuckle to myself. But again, it's the alternate picking thing. The one consolation about this is that towards the end of his career, towards the end of his life, sadly, gone too soon, Gary did sort of revisit some of his old 80s rock catalogue and did some tour dates, including songs like Out in the Fields. And I remember reading an interview where he said, how much of a struggle it was for him. So there you go. If Gary's allowed to struggle with it, then so am I. Let's see what's next.
Can't Keep Running by Dan Toller.
Yeah, this is a guitar solo by Dan Toller from Greg Allman's band. I did the solo from the title track of the I'm No Angel album, a little while ago now, and I thought I'd go back and have another look at another solo from that album, and the song Can't Keep Running sprung to mind. And I thought, yeah, this is doable. When you're kind of listening to a guitar solo and you're kind of picturing what's going on the fretboard, and you think, yeah, my fingers will be able to get around that. Well, once upon a time, they might have been able to get around it, but, there is this November the 29th, 2023, is kind of one of those dates that I'm sure we all have in our lives, where it marks a period before something and a period after something. And for me, the before and after was the injury to this finger here. I've managed to adapt and, kind of modify and evolve the way that I play so that I can, pretty much do nearly everything I could do before the injury. Certainly, close enough to kind of keep me amused and keep me kind of, enjoying playing the guitar. But there was just one lick in this solo, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was that was difficult, but it was just, I needed that third finger to be able to just land in a particular place. And yeah, the third finger ain't cooperating anymore. So tried always round using the second finger, the fourth finger, and it was going to, again, it's probably one of these ones that I could have, if I'd invested a lot more time in it. But again, there's other stuff in the intro that I need to get through and work on. But I think because this solo is one that I know I would have had absolutely no issues with before November the 29th last year, and now I do. I think out of all of these here, it's the one that bugs me the most. But, it bugs me if I dwell on it. So there's an easy answer to that, isn't there? Just don't dwell on it, Yes, Can't Keep Running by Dan Toller. Let's see if I can eventually get that one and do a solo analysis on the channel. Watch this space. I say these solos have defeated me. This one has won the battle, but perhaps not the war. We'll see. Let's see what the last one is.
Giant Steps by John Coltrane.
Yes, sax solo this time, not a guitar solo. When would it be? About 2009, 2010, I had this idea that I wanted to do an album of jazz classics just to sort of get it out of my system, basically. So I started putting a track listing together, and what was on there? I think there was Stolen Moments, Autumn Leaves, what else was on there? So What, the old Miles Davis tune. And one of the ones that was on the list was Giant Steps by John Coltrane. And when you listen to it, that kind of that kind of main theme, you think that's doable. And then you look at the chord sequence, and it's just like... these chord changes have become known as the Coltrane changes because it's so strongly associated with that particular classic jazz tune. But essentially the difficulty is that the tempo is going at in excess of 200 beats per minute. The chords change every 2 beats, so you've got 2 chord changes per bar at 200 beats per minute, and the chords are not related to each other. You get in chords like B major 7 going to an E flat major 7 going to an A minor 7. So you're not getting a chord sequence where you can just kind of sit on one scale to kind of cover all of those chords. You've got to be thinking about this chord, then this chord, then this chord, then this chord. And, it was just like standing in front of a fire hose trying to navigate a way of improvising through those chord changes. So in the end, I just thought, well, I've got 8 tracks recorded for the album. Does it really need a 9th track? And I ended up just kind of throwing the towel in. One interesting story is that apparently when Prince was among us, he would play this particular tune, playing, I believe, the original Coltrane solos from this on guitar, live on stage with a blindfold on. Yeah, he might have had his detractors, Prince, but, when it came to just raw musical talent, he had that in spades. So there you go, folks. Those are the 5 solos which have absolutely defeated me. I'm sure you have a similar list, so why not post that down in the comments. Now, I said at the start of the video that, by and large, I wasn't too disheartened about these kind of shortcomings that I've discovered of myself, and the reason for that is that, this fella, where is he? There he is, there, Gary Moore. I remember reading an interview with him in Guitar Player magazine back in the 80s, I think, when he was doing a lot of press for the Victims of the Future album, saying that he would love to be able to do the Van Halen kind of tapping thing, but he would try it occasionally in a rehearsal just for a laugh, but it would always go horribly wrong. So Gary Moore couldn't finger tap. Steve Howe. Now, this is a bit of a revelation. Steve Howe of Yes and obviously Asia has said on many occasions that he feels uncomfortable playing with a high gain guitar tone, so he just doesn't do it these days. Which, if anyone's listened to that first Asia album, it's not sort of Slipknot levels of gain, but it's not a clean jazz sound either. You certainly seem to kind of get over his hang-ups with higher gain tones on that album, but it is something he says he avoids doing these days because it's just not something he's comfortable with. Likewise, Eddie Van Halen, I remember reading a Sean Baxter interview with him in, I think it was probably in Total Guitar magazine or Guitar Techniques back in the mid-90s, where he said he'd love to be able to do that Yngwie thing, by which I think he meant doing kind of sweet picked arpeggios. I'm not the world's biggest Van Halen aficionado, but from what I've heard of him, I don't think I've ever heard Eddie sweet pick. If you know better, then please post a comment down below. But, point I'm making is that all of these guitar players, and another one, John McLaughlin, again, in a TV interview for, there was something on TV in the 90s called Night of 1,000 Guitars or something like that. I seem to remember it was in Seville. If anyone else remembers that, it was on over a series of evenings. Anyway, interviews with all these guitar players, and John McLaughlin was saying that, he too was, a big admirer of the kind of two-handed Van Halen-esque tapping, and he really couldn't get the coordination to do it either. So the point is that all of these guitar players, the great and the good, your guitar heroes, my guitar heroes, they all have these little no entry signs on certain areas of technique that they don't go anywhere near. So if it's okay for them, then it's okay for the likes of you and me, surely. And that is the video for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed what you've seen and found it reasonably entertaining. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. Don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time, where we drink beer and talk about music and guitars and a whole host of other things. It's a great way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.